Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of Time Capsule, one of my favorite series on my channel. Favorite albums by year, and we are up to the year 2004. And as you can see, I do it in 10-year increments. I started in 1971, and since we're in 2024 this year, in the month of January, I'm doing 74, 84, 94. We're up to 2004. Another interesting year. I own 98 albums that came out that year. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly show you 45 of my favorites that came out that year, and I'll end it with my top 10. So without further ado, let's get started with 2004 in alphabetical order. Aerosmith came out with Hunkin' on Bobo. A blues album by Aerosmith. Got to give them credit. They beat the Stones' Blue and Lonesome by over 10 years. It's a decent collection, not one that I listen to that often. Blondie put out a Live by Request album. That was like a TV show. This is Latter Day Blondie. I think it was around The Curse of Blondie. That was the album. Another fine live performance. Nick Drake compilation called Made to Love Magic. Interesting collection that goes very nicely with his 3 studio records. These are alternate tracks, alternate versions, things like that from Nick Drake. If you're a fan, that was a good collection. Bob Dylan, another great bootleg series. This was volume 6. This was the concert at Philharmonic Hall live in '64. I love this one. It's all acoustic and a great classic live performance from Bob Dylan from the bootleg series. Eminem put out Encore. This is like a 2 CD version of it, deluxe edition. It's really good. I'm a fan of Eminem. The problem that I have with him, frankly, is that his albums are just too damn long. I mean, this thing's got 23 songs on it. Jeez. 20 songs plus a bonus of 3. But, you know, the great stuff on here, like Toy Soldiers, some other tracks are really great. But he's a lot to take in. Massive talent. Marianne Faithfull put out Before the Poison, another fine release. I'm a big fan. This is an album she did in conjunction. She always does have, like, co-writers. This one, big time with P.J. Harvey. But another fine release from Marianne Faithfull. Focus put out Focus 8, nice return, strong instrumental music, great musicianship, fine record. John Fogerty, he put out Deja Vu all over again. Had a radio hit with the title track. That was a really good track, and if you like John Fogerty, this is a nice tight record with 10 tracks. Fine release. I was a fan, and still am, a fan of a band called Ash, not Wishbone Ash. That's a different band. This is Ash, and they were big over in the UK. And my favorite period of Ash was when they had another member of the band, Charlotte Hatherley. She eventually left the band to go solo, and this was one of her solo records called Gray Will Fade. Love the title, the song there, Kim Wilde. Kind of fun. Bastardo. Gray Will Fade. It's a good little album from Charlotte Hatherley, formerly of Ash. Heart put out Jupiter's Darling. I'm a big Heart fan, but some of their latter-day albums, like this one, you know, and you're going to see this with most of these albums. I like the bands. I like the artists. I buy all their albums. But most of these albums that you're going to see, including this one, they just didn't leave much of an impression. So, you know, like if you love Heart, you get it, but it's not the kind of album that you're going to go to listen to Heart. Peter Himmelman put out Unstoppable Forces. I'm a big fan of his. He seems to show up a lot because he's pretty prolific back then. Another fine release if you like Peter Himmelman. This was good. This was a double, and he had actually a whole second disc. He called it the Himmel Waltz, and that was Himmel Waltz 3. So good collection. Indigo Girls, same kind of story. I'm a big fan. I wound up getting just about all of their albums. This was All That We Let In. Another fine release. Again, it's not the kind of stuff that I find overly memorable, for the Indigo Girls. But it's fine. This was a double, actually, with a live set from the Bottom Line, which was a nice bonus. But it's a fine release if you like the Indigo Girls. Mick Jagger did the soundtrack to Alfie, and it was mostly done with Dave Stewart. Interesting. This is an example of latter-day Mick Jagger's vocal styling that could really be annoying to me. He does, like, I call it this affectation that he does it on certain Stones songs as well, latter-day Stones songs. And luckily on Hackney Diamonds, the producer reined it in a lot. But you really hear it on this, which is a shame because there's a lot of really good songs on this album. Old Habits Die Hard is an amazing track. It really, in the olden days, could have been a huge hit. But again, it's that he's got that Jagger affectation on there. So, but the soundtrack to Alfie, definitely interesting. You want to hear a really cool track? There's a thing called Wicked Time, and that's Joss Stone with Mick Jagger on there. Great track. Elton John put out a real fine record, Peachtree Road. He was putting out some pretty strong albums at that time, and this was another one. I like this one a lot, Peachtree Road. I got this one last year, Manic Street Preachers, an album called Lifeblood. It's not considered one of their best albums, but I sure liked it a lot. Really good record. Ian McLagan and the Bump Band did Rise and Shine, if you know the Faces, and he played with the Stones a little bit. Fine release from a good artist. Christine McVie, Fleetwood Mac, you probably don't even know this album, but this is one of her solo records called In the Meantime. Let's just say she's better in Fleetwood Mac. But it's a fine release, but nothing overly memorable. Nectar put out an album called Evolution. It was nice to have the band back, Roy and Ron Howden. Even had the guy who did the effects back in the band officially. And this is an album called Evolution. And again, not overly memorable to me as a Nectar record, but it's fine. If you really like the band, you get it and you say, yeah, it's good. This was great. Ocean Color Scene is a band that I really love. Not big here. I don't even know if they're known in the United States, but overseas, they had a lot of hits. And this is a great live record called One for the Road. Loaded, man. How many songs are on this thing? 19 tracks. If you don't know Ocean Color Scene, highly recommend it. Kind of like a mod rock band. Really good. Really good. Fish put out Undermined, another fine release from them. This had an extra bonus DVD with it. But listen, huge band in America, and I dig them. Prince put out Musicology, another funky album from Prince. That's what the packaging looked like. Again, when it comes to Prince, I don't listen to him that much, and that's not one of my go-tos, but what can I tell you? Patti Scialfa, I got into her. She has 3 solo records. I have all of them. This was a really good one, 23rd Street Lullaby. Another limited, I like these limited editions of bonus live discs and things like that. But if you like Patti Scialfa's voice, and she's a fine songwriter in her own right, very good record. Patti Smith, I'm a huge Patti Smith fan, but similar to what you're going to get from this vibe. You know, I love the artists, I buy all their albums, but the albums are not overly memorable. And this one wasn't either. This is called Trampin'. You know, when I listen to Patti Smith, I still go back to those early classic ones, not the latter day ones for whatever reason. You know, they typically have a couple of real good songs on them, but this album, gotta say, Trampin', I barely remember it. But I remember thinking, yeah, it's good. Okay. Michael Stanley Band I'm a big fan of, and they were kind of at a low ebb back in 2004. They decided to put out this live record called 4th and 10, and then had some bonus tracks of like demos. And he was really good band. I remember when he passed away, I did a little video on him. But My Town and Someone Like You and Lover, He Can't Love You, He Can't Love You. Real good stuff. Joss Stone, fine artist. We just talked about her on the Alfie soundtrack. and she put out the album Mind, Body, and Soul. She's the real deal. Great voice. Good stuff. Reissue was the Velvet Underground put out this cool one. Live at Max's Kansas City, which is a classic reissue back earlier than that. But they put it out as a deluxe edition. And this is a really good version of the Velvet Underground that I like a lot. I'm going to do a video on them where I rank their albums. But this is the one where Doug Yule, of course, was in the band, but he had Billy Yule playing the drums. So as a drummer, it was really interesting to hear the Velvet Underground with a drummer who plays like typical drums. You know, Mo Tucker was a percussionist, basically, you know, so it's a completely different sound. Fine record, Velvet Underground. Paul Weller put out Studio 150. This is an album of covers, and I'm a big fan of Paul Weller. Certainly not essential, but fine. Same with this. Wishbone Ash put out Lost Pearls, and this was deep tracks. Some of these were bonus songs later on other albums, but you know, as a huge Wishbone Ash fan, always kind of fun to hear stuff that didn't make the albums. Within Temptation, really good band, and this is The Silent Force, came out that year. If you like that symphonic metal, but very melodic, great lead singer, fine record, Stand My Ground. Yeah, real good album from Within Temptation. And just show you, Bill Wyman was going strong with the Rhythm Kings, and he put out Just for a Thrill. One of many Rhythm Kings albums that are always a fun listen. So there are a good selection. Those are not the top 10. Before we hit the top 10, let's talk about box sets. Some great box sets came out. This is The Clash, the singles. This is 19 CDs. I mean, a monster. These are kind of fun collectibles, I think. You know, you flip the top up, and it comes with a huge book. And then each one of these is an exact reproduction of the original singles that came out. And sometimes the singles only have like 2 songs on it, you know, an A side and a B side. But some of these are loaded, you know, with like, you know, every kind of 12-inch remix. And some of these could be, you know, very long, almost like CDs in their own right. And a really good collection, The Clash, the singles. Now, I got a Blondie one from that year, too, called the Singles Box. Same idea. You know, they're kind of fun to collect if you love the bands. Great booklet. And then inside, you get the exact reproductions of the singles. So it's got the artwork. And, of course, the Blondie artwork could be great because you got Deborah Harry. Kind of looks like that. You know, each single, the original reproductions of those original singles. And again, sometimes there's only 2 songs. Sometimes there's a whole mess of songs. You know, it's kind of a pain to listen to these things because, you know, they're short CDs in some cases, but fun to have. This was a great box set. This was called All Good Things, Jerry Garcia Studio Sessions, and you got 6 full CDs of his albums, the studio albums, fully remastered with loads of bonus tracks, a beautiful box, and a beautiful thick booklet. And this was a great box set. I love this one. You know, it's got jams and alternate versions, and then copies of each album, again, loaded with bonus tracks, remastered. They sound great, the classic Garcia record there. This was a great box set that came out that year as well. And in one swoop, you got the Jerry Garcia solo career. And if that's not enough, the Grateful Dead, another box. This was beyond description, and this is amazing. All these albums, same situation, all digitally remastered with tons of bonus tracks, almost double the length in some cases, and beautifully presented. Great box set. Love this one as well. So some of the highlights of box sets that came out in 2004, as you can see, was a good year for box sets. As far as the top 10, let's get to the chase. At number 10, Leonard Cohen, another fine release. Dear Heather, another fine piece of work. He was working with Sharon Robinson again. Again, this is not one of the go-to Leonard Cohen albums for me. When I listen to him, that tends to not be one of the ones I go to, but it's a good release. The Avett Brothers come in at number 9 with Mig Nanette. And again, my rankings are based on play, how much I played these. So Mig Nanette was number 9 of the year in 2004. Fine album from the Avett Brothers. Totally enjoyable if you like their sound. Let's keep going. At number 8, if you like Porcupine Tree, I think you would love this. And if you don't know Porcupine Tree and you want to give them a shot, this is actually not a bad way to go. This is an album called Wasawa. It's a live CD. Looks like that. And it came with an ad for Blackfield. This is a CD that I got with very little expectations. But it was around In Absentia, which I love that album. And this is just a killer live album. If you don't know them, like She Moved On is on here, this is a really, really good live record. This is Porcupine Tree at number 8 with Wasawa, live album. Let's keep going. At number 7, Ryan Adams and his album Love Is Hell. Now, Love Is Hell was originally 2 kind of mini albums, and then he finally was able to put it together as one album the way he conceived it. And really, it's a real strong Ryan Adams. If you like Ryan Adams, this was a really good one. He does a cover of Wonderwall right there as well. But this was an album I listened to a lot. I don't think it's as good as Gold, but this was a really strong record, which is why it was at number 7 for the year for me. Ryan Adams and Love Is Hell. At number 6, a band little known at all in America, but this is Magenta and an album called Seven. Now, Magenta, I'm a huge fan of mostly Autumn. Tom's a big fan of them. And Magenta's like that. They're kind of like a progressive band, melodic, great female singer, but long songs, jams. This was a thematic album, and this album definitely hit me. I really like this album. I was lucky to find it because these are not easy to find in America. And there it is. But like Sloth, they're long, extended as you could see, but melodic and progressive. And Rob Reed is the leader of the band. A really good record from Magenta. If you like that kind of a sound, give it a shot. Magenta is at number 6. At number 5, one of my all-time faves, of course, is Mark Knopfler. And Mark Knopfler could get kind of samey. Dire Straits to me is one of the greatest bands of all time. I have everything Knopfler's ever done. But as he goes on, his albums kind of start all sounding the same. But this was still a really good one. This is Shangri-La. This album definitely hit the mark for me. That's for sure. And that's why it was number 5. This is the album that's got Boom Like That. Love that one. But the Trawler Man song and Back to Tupelo, Shangri-La, Everybody Pays. This is just a really good listen. Is it the best thing he's ever done? No. But if you like Mark Knopfler and you like Dire Straits, it is a fun listen. And that's why it's number 5. All right. Let's keep going. Let's see. We can put it like that. Number 4. The Drive-By Truckers put out The Dirty South. This was a really good record. One of the last ones where I really, really liked the Drive-By Truckers, but this is when they had Jason Isbell in the band and Mike Cooley, and they had a really good variety because they had different singers. Patterson Hood, the leader of the band, he's really good, but I kind of loved when Jason Isbell sang and the other guys, and they had that on this album. This is a really good record if you like Drive-By Truckers and if you like Jason Isbell. This is where he came from, and this is The Dirty South, which for me was the number 4 album of the year in 2004. Let's keep going. At number 3, it's a live record, and this is Amy Mann. This is a CD and a DVD, Live at St. Anne's Warehouse. I got to tell you, I love this thing. This is a great collection of like a lot of the best of Amy Mann at that time, back in 2004. If you don't know Amy Mann's solo stuff, this is a great place to start. Highly, highly recommended it. I love the DVD as well, but this is a CD and a DVD, and that's why this album is at number 3 for the year 2004. And we don't want this to fall, hopefully. We are up to number 2. And what's going to be number 2? Another live record. It's Karnataka. So we were talking about Mostly Autumn, and we were talking about Magenta. Karnataka is the other one. Another progressive rock band with a female singer. They kind of resemble each other to a certain extent. This was everything I love about a live album. I knew of the band Karnataka, never heard any of their stuff. I picked this live album up, and there's your great introduction to a band, which is why I love live albums. Strange Behavior is a great introduction, and there's the track listing. Around the time of Delicate Flame of Desire, which was the studio record at that time, but this is a terrific album. I got this album without knowing a single song, and I just played it all the time, and I still go back to it on occasion, which is why Karnataka's Strange Behavior is the number 2 album of the year for me in 2004. What's the number 1 album? Out of all of these albums, this one stands head and shoulders. It's the number 1 album of the year, and it's the only one that really, if you're not a big fan of the bands, this is an indispensable album. U2, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. This is the number 1 album of the year for me in 2004. They are such a great band. I put them up in the top 4 of all time with the Beatles, Stones, The Who, Led Zeppelin, and U2. To me, they're on the Mount Olympus of rock, and there's a reason. These latter-day U2 albums, a lot of times they don't get the respect they deserve. I mean, this album is amazing. Vertigo, I used to say U2, I would love to hear them just do like a straight rock track, because everything kind of sounds like U2, which makes them U2. Well, they kicked it out on Vertigo. I mean, Una Dos, you know that song. Da-na-na-na-na. I mean, it's an amazing track. But Miracle Drug, Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own, Love and Peace or Else, City of Blinding Lights, All Because of You, Crumbs of Your Table, Original of the Species. Every damn song is great. Another band would give their arm to be able to put something out this great, and they're still doing it. And this is 10 years ago, of course, but they're still doing it. One of the few, in my opinion, legendary bands that they still put out amazing stuff. They don't rest on their laurels. They still work so hard and put out incredible music. So there you go. U2 with How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. So what are the top 10 again? At number 10, we got Leonard Cohen, Dear Heather. Number 9, the Avett Brothers, Mignonette. At number 8, Porcupine Tree with the live one, Wasawa. At number 7, Ryan Adams, Love Is Hell. At number 6, Magenta and 7. Number 5, Mark Knopfler with Shangri-La. At number 4, we got Drive-By Truckers, The Dirty South. At number 3, we got Amy Mann, live at St. Anne's Warehouse. At number 2, Karnataka, Strange Behavior, live record. And number 1, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb from U2. Interesting year, right? 2004. Let me know what you think. What did I miss? What was your favorite albums of 2004 that I missed? Out of the 98, I just showed you about 45. So got another 53 downstairs. But let me know what I missed, what you thought your top of 2004 is. And then a couple days we'll do one more video. We'll do 2014, and then this whole time capsule will be done for the year. So I do them in 10-year increments every year. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you commenting. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. Check out the other videos. If you go to my channel, you go to playlist. And on playlist, you will see favorite album by year, time capsule. And you will see a separate video for each and every one of these years. Nice and convenient. And this way, there is 19 videos now of time capsule. And thanks so much again. Have a great night and a great upcoming week. See you around.